Are you looking for something to scratch that mobile itch? Then go check out our MMOByte mobile channel and see if something there interests you. Otherwise, we get a fairly decent weekend for all of you. New class introductions, beta tests for highly anticipated MMOs, and well, you're gonna have to watch to find out what else. So sit back, kick your feet up, and let's take a look at this week's Weekly Byte of MMORPG news. Back on June 12th, I did a video on the new Shai class introduced into Black Desert. I didn't have the option of trying her out and testing how she played, but that's alright. We'll get to next week as a Shai class officially launches on the 26th. However, if you're burdened with an insatiable need to create her now long before she's readily available to play, then go right ahead. You're fully capable of creating your new Shai character right now, several days before being able to officially play her. So what are you waiting for? ARK Survival Evolved has been an astonishingly large survival game for several years now, averaging 40,000 players playing concurrently at any hour of the day is a feat in and of itself. Their latest game, Atlas, didn't really fare so well with critics, but I'm sure that'll launch a couple years from now to quite a sizable audience as well, if they're lucky. Maybe not, actually. Probably not. Now, with their main focus on Atlas, you wouldn't expect them to release a new map expansion, but here we are. Wildcard announced a new map, Valguero, would be available for everyone to play, completely free of charge. If you're a fan of ARK, you'll probably recognize this map as it was an original mod from the Steam Workshop over a year ago. It functions more like an updated Ragnarok, I guess, with aberration zones added into it. So if ARK is your thing, you should go ahead and try out the new map. My wife Mrs. Sticks and I will be in there this weekend. I'm not sure how participants for the first stage of stress tests were chosen. I never applied and I never really attempted to test out whether I could get in or not because I never played Classic and I didn't want my first impressions of the game tainted. But from what I was made aware of, a very small selection of people were chosen. However, as of the 19th, Wednesday specifically, Blizz opened up registration for anyone with an active subscription to the game located within North America, South America, and Oceania. This meant that it was your opportunity to get in and experience what Classic was going to be like. All characters and classes were made available, however, they capped players at level 15. Various instances were made available for players to participate in, like the Dead Mines, which, I'm gonna be honest here, is literal suicide for people under level 18 from what I've seen, and Warsong Gulch for those of you that want to test out PvP. Hopefully you got in and got to scratch that itch for WoW Classic. Quick question for those of you that did, what did you think of it? Is it what you expected? Are you going to resub for Classic? Okay, so speaking of Atlas earlier, Wildcard just made somewhat of an unusual announcement. See, ARK is a smaller game, like it's playable with what, 80 other players on your server, I think? But Atlas was announced to hold an enormous 40,000 people per server. If that isn't the very definition of an MMORPG, 40,000 players, all concurrently fighting, gearing, leveling to fight bosses at endgame while simultaneously attempting to murder one another and survive? Yeah, I don't know what is. Anyway, I digress. Wildcard announced that they are working on a single-player version of the game to play alone, as opposed to thousands of other players. Why would they do that? I have no idea. Maybe it's because, unlike ARK, which has upwards of 40,000 people playing concurrently, Atlas has only been able to attract a mere 4,000, and I don't know, like, to me, personally, I feel like this is a weird direction to take their game, but they cite that it's actually due to player demand. So is that what you guys are asking for, a single-player version of the game? I believe it's been a very long while since players got to participate in the Dragon Bash events. So put on your nostalgia goggles because it's coming back to Guild Wars 2 on June 25th, lasting until July 16th. Why this was reintroduced after such a long absence remains to be seen, but some people are theorizing that it may be their way of cleaning out the closet, looking for things to provide players with until Season 5 inevitably starts. Festival of the Four Winds was introduced last year as well after being absent for a few years itself. So, you know, while it's never a bad thing to get long since gone content back, I don't know, it's a curious choice. Now, if you're a fan of the classic old tale of Dekaron, but it's just so, it's I guess too dated to really play and enjoy anymore, then you'll be happy to know, or maybe you'll be unhappy to know, that Thumbage is actually announcing Dekaron mobile. Yep, because every MMORPG that isn't a Western one anyway needs to have their very own copy-pasted mobile adaptation these days. The only details that they went into were, and you know, I'm sure none of you really care about this, are that it will have the best features of the PC version. So mobile game with the best features of the PC version. That's something we didn't want nor need, but hey, thank you guys anyway. I figure since WoW and WoW Classic are technically going to be different games with different update schedules, it might be best to henceforth keep them separated. World of Warcraft, if you weren't aware, was having some issues, some serious issues retaining players. They're leaving the game left, right, and center. This is because Battle for Azeroth is a critically received expansion and it was mishandled, to put it nicely. Thankfully, Rise of Azshara looks to fix some of those issues, and you're in luck, it actually goes live next week on the 25th, right before the Shadowbringers expansion, surprisingly. Curiously, not really. Blizz naturally, of course, want to put a damper on as much of the success Shadowbringers has, so, you know. Anyway, since you will likely have a subscription if you played Classic, you might as well take a look and see if this update interests you, right? Worst case scenario, it still sucks. It's that time of the month again. Blade & Soul is receiving yet another update, this time titled Empyrean Shadows. It brings with it quite a surprisingly large amount of updates, including the new Act 10 story and most importantly, the Blade Master and Kung Fu Master's third class specializations. Additionally, the Warped Citadel, a new 6-player heroic dungeon, is now available for players to tackle as well. So, you know, if you've been bored with the content at your disposal thus far, then fret not, as Blade & Soul never seems to disappoint. Well, I mean, you know, they do with their actual game, but never with the frequency of the updates for it. I know many of you aren't interested in TERA Origin, but I have to do a segment on this because, well, there are currently 4 other TERA MMOs in development for mobile devices right now. I am not even kidding. This is absurd. Apparently, TERA is such a hot commodity right now that there's TERA M, TERA Frontier, TERA Classic, TERA Origin, and that is not counting the normal original PC version of TERA. Regardless, Netmarble have announced that TERA Origin is going into closed beta testing, so, you know, if you're interested, then you can sign right up. I wonder, between Blade & Soul and TERA, who are going to have more mobile adaptations by the end of this year? I think Blade & Soul has like 5 so far, and TERA has 4. Maybe Blade & Soul has 4 as well? I don't know, I'm going to have to double check that. Astellia could very well potentially be this year's big Korean MMO. People have been excited for its release since the end of 2018, and for good reason. It looks like it could very well be the next TERA. So you might be a little excited to know that it's launching a closed beta testing phase this month. According to the team behind Astellia, this closed beta will be to test the server performance and PvE progression while showcasing the implementation of active dodging, improved animations, and various other combat improvements. Do note though that just because the game is going to be playable, it is currently in beta form, meaning that there will likely be quite a few bugs and performance issues. Therefore, the product you are going to be receiving right now is not entirely indicative of the final product you'll receive once it launches. Beta keys will be sent out to random players like every beta, but if you want to ensure you get into the beta, then you're going to want to grab the pre-order package, which is a whopping $100. I am personally going to be participating in the beta, and the team behind the game are actually providing me with several keys to give out to our viewers, so if you want to obtain one, let me know in the comments below. I will have an updated video up for Astellia with my impressions soon. If you'd forgotten, then Final Fantasy XIV is rolling out their Shadowbringers expansion on the 28th for those of us that pre-ordered the early access version of the game, and on July 2nd for everyone else. Don't forget to tune into our channel to watch us stream the introductory levels of the game and probably die repeatedly to bosses and dungeons. It looks like it's gonna be a hell of a time, and I look forward to seeing you all there. So I did a video on this a couple weeks ago, and we'll have a more updated video on it soon, but the League of Maidens team have doubled the funding they have for the game and are taking the time to listen and implement changes that their players want. If you want to have your voice heard and have any ideas for the game, then now's your chance to let them know. Finally, For the handful of those of you that still play MapleStory 2, you will be, well, excited is taking things a little too far. I'd say maybe potentially interested in their new Gilded Glory update. The update in question adds some things exclusive to guilds, such as new tiers of guild raid encounters, rebalancing the current guild raids, guild quests, and adding the Black Shard Nexus dungeon, a brand new dungeon exclusive to this update. And that pretty much covers the majority of MMO related news that I was made aware of over the last week. If you know of anything that I missed, feel free to hit me up on Twitter or Instagram with a link to the article so I can talk about it. Anyway guys, that is it for me. Thank you all for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.